Did you know that on August 3rd, 2019 marked the 4-year anniversary of Nerdy Media? I totally lost track of time and didn't realize the organization will hit the 5-year mark next year. What's the Plan is by far the most popular episode of the Nonprofit Startup Podcast. In September 2015, I quit my job and outlined a mini 5-year plan. So you can kind of say I quit with a plan, no matter how small. In this episode, I'll share with you my outline for the 5-year plan and take time to reflect on the wins and epic fails of Nerdy Media. Welcome to the Nonprofit Startup Podcast. The Nonprofit Startup Podcast documents the success and setbacks of launching a nonprofit. Hi, I'm Latoya, the founder of Nerdy Media, a Chicago-based 501c3 nonprofit empowering Chicago's youth and families by connecting nerdy interests with 21st century skill development. Our innovative project-based learning aims to address the digital divide, equipping Chicago's underserved communities with the know-how to not only access technology, but to produce media content. If you haven't already, check out the What's the Plan episode, because we charted an idea to action and learned that 67% of failed startups started without a plan. There's a lot that goes into writing a business plan, but I started with an outline to organize my ideas on paper before the bigger task of actually writing a business plan. In the show notes, you'll find a link to this mini business plan. Let's take a look at how I mapped out the mini business plan. Then we'll take a look at my wins and epic fails, and I'll share with you some very exciting and somewhat frightening news. To start, each yearly strategy considered 3 factors. 1, the objective. 2, an essential question. And 3, a mission. For example, in year 1, after all the paperwork was filed and the hard work of actually launching a nonprofit started, my year 1 objective was to establish best practices. The essential question, who is Nerdy Media and what makes a successful organization? The mission was to establish best practices, resulting in internal and external brand identity. Next, I identified 4 areas of the organization: operations, development, programming, and marketing. And because a business operates in 4 quarters, each of these areas outline 4 objectives or goals for each quarter. We've already talked about year 1. Year 2, the focus was impact. The essential question was, why should someone support Nerdy Media? The mission was to illustrate the organization's impact, resulting in a case for support. Year 3, the focus was engagement. The essential question was, how does Nerdy Media establish relationships? The mission was to cultivate and acknowledge partners and supporters. The 4th year is all about sharing our work. The essential question is, what is Nerdy Media's contribution to the communities we serve? And what value can we contribute to the nonprofit community? The mission was to establish informative content. Each of these areas also includes a 5th objective, the often overlooked reflection. I use this outline for each year. It is by no means perfect. There's a lot more to writing a business plan, obviously. But this worked for me. It's kind of an organized brain dump. Reflection is important. Reflecting helps to develop your skills and review their effectiveness, rather than carrying on doing things as you've always done them. In this episode, I'm not only sharing my approach to the 5-year plan, but also reflecting. Here are 3 fails and wins of my 5-year plan. First, I realized over the past 4 years, I haven't really created a strategy for fundraising. Although I have ideas around board development, I'm not quite sure how to execute those ideas. And brand awareness. Not too many people have heard of Nerdy Media. And what about the wins? I've created somewhat of a framework for programming. We've implemented an approach for data collection that's constantly being refined. And brand awareness, although the public may not necessarily know much about nerdy media, we have been able to increase brand awareness with a few notable foundations and other nonprofits. As you can see, I have a lot to do, but we've reached a 4-year benchmark and we'll have the opportunity to share our work at the 2019 Connected Learning Summit in Irvine, California, where I'll have an opportunity to illustrate the impact of some of the work that we've completed in the past 4 years. Check out the link in the show notes to learn more about the summit. I'm looking forward to learning all I can about connected learning at the summit. You know what's weird? As a teacher, I had no problem speaking in front of 90 unforgiving teenagers every school year, and sometimes in overcrowded classrooms. However, I absolutely hate public speaking, especially in front of adults. I'm not sure why, but I'm always pushing myself to do things outside of my comfort zone. Make sure to subscribe to the Nonprofit Startup Podcast, because each week I'll share an episode so you can follow how I'm preparing for this benchmark. I'll share with you every step of developing my presentation and traveling to California on a budget, and all the anxiety and excitement of this journey. You can also follow on Instagram at NerdyMediaNPO and on LinkedIn to see the journey. Check out the show notes for these social media links. Whether you're working on a nonprofit startup or a for-profit startup, or just want to outline a business idea, I hope this episode inspires you to outline a 5-year plan. The goal of the Nonprofit Startup Podcast to share with you all the best practices that helped me. The idea is to save you time so you can move closer to launching your amazing idea. Comment or email and let me know what you think about this mini business plan, aka an organized brain dump. Or just let me know what you think about the Nonprofit Startup Podcast. Thank you for listening to the Nonprofit Startup Podcast. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. If you want to learn more about nerdy media, visit nerdymedia.org. You can also support our youth and community programming with a donation at nerdymedia.org/support. For every donation of $25 or more, we'll mail you a limited edition Nerdy Media Pop Socket. And as always, thanks to Memo of Molemen for the dope track. Next week, I'm taking the first steps to realizing my vision and facing my fears of public speaking.